What up, y'all? We back again with a day 6 reaction, where again Jane Doe is still on the stand, and R. Kelly's defense team gets a chance to now cross-examine the witness. So they started out grilling her about letters in which she defended Kelly and accused her parents of using her vagina to extract money from him and destroy his career. Let me get my usual piece of gum before I get started. Keep my mouth from getting dry. And as we stated earlier in previous episodes, a lot of these parents basically see their children as a lottery ticket. So, it's not hard for me to believe that that's the truth. But again, we live in a world where two things could be right at the same time. Could R. Kelly have been abusing her and her parents using her vagina as a way to extract money and extort them? Both those things could be true. So we do need to take that into account. On day 6 of the trial in federal court in Brooklyn, Kelly's defense attorney, Devereaux Canick, resumed questioning the witness, asking her to read letters she wrote to members of her family during her time living with Kelly as one of his girlfriends. The letters were introduced as evidence. And again, that's another problem I have with the racketeering case. Both these women so far thought of themselves as his girlfriends. So at that point, you think you're in a relationship with him, so I don't see him holding you hostage. Both of these women also stated that when they got fed up, they got up and walked out. So again, like I said, I don't know what. Usually when the feds come and get you, they have an airtight case. So I don't know what the motive is for this. You decided to join in and get some money, according to one letter she read aloud and addressed to her father. And again, parents not protecting their children. And the one most important job a father has is to nurture his son into manhood and to protect his daughter from the wolves that's out here in society. You only have really 2 jobs as a father. Well, 3. Those 2 and to provide. That's it. You decided to, we read that. In another letter, she accused her mother of telling Kelly that since he was sleeping with her daughter, you need to send $10,000 to this bank account every month. Now, could that also be true? Sure could. In a letter to her brother, she listed actions that her parents allegedly put her up to in order to get money from Kelly, including telling her to lie about her age to him and to police. And again, if I'm the feds and the prosecution, I'm not putting her on the stand knowing that these letters exist. But again, she's so far, like I said, she's the only one gave you some insight into some things we didn't already know. The first witness was basically public knowledge. Now, I don't know if the other 4 witnesses, female witnesses they have, 4 witnesses they have, because from my understanding, it's supposed to be some boys R. Kelly had sex with also who may be testifying, but we'll see. But in that letter now, again, the defense team is going to use that you called your parents what? Extortionists. And they basically pimped their child out and set up a scheme for her to go get money from R. Kelly. They were trying to set him up, the letter says. Brother, I'm telling you the truth. I cannot make this up. In the same letter she wrote, my own parents were using me and my vagina to get money. They were going to destroy R. Kelly's career. That's no different. And I mean, this happens on a regular basis. It just doesn't happen to this degree. But when you have these women who raise their daughters up to basically be princesses, and you need to stay in shape here, do this, do that, and you need to eye somebody who's getting ready to be a doctor or a lawyer or a ball player. Because you have to understand, when a pretty girl grabs a nerd that's a sophomore in college, but she understands he's getting ready to practice law, she's looking for the future already. She's been trained already for how this operates, how this works. Identify the boys who in med school. Identify the boys who in law school. Now you're not gonna get a jock. He gonna play around for a little while. You'll be able to have sex. You may be able to trap him and get pregnant by him, but he's usually not gonna be interested in getting married fresh out of college. The educated lame, the so-called nerd, he will be, because for him, he's never had the pretty girl. So now that the pretty girl is showing him attention, he can't see the forest from the trees at this point. He doesn't understand. She sees 5 years from now. She's investing in him. He sees as, man, she's really cool. She's here and I'm a sophomore in college. I don't have anything. She's thinking that's cool. We can ride this out, but in 5 years, it'll be Fat City. That is the one thing I always tell people. That's the difference between white women and black women. Black women not interested in college and making that investment. They looking to have a good time. Then they look up and they 29 or 30 and they're asking, well, why didn't he choose me? Well, you had your chance. He just wasn't cool enough at that point. But let's keep it going before I go off on one of those tangents. And she goes to finish saying they were going to destroy R. Kelly's career. They didn't really need to. Once the Me Too movement got started, he was on his way down regardless. They went and got everybody from Russell Simmons, Bill Cosby, anybody who they felt was in a position of power and had sex with a woman. You basically was somebody who basically almost forced her to have sex with you at this point. That's how women view it. Women view this whole thing and this Me Too movement. They view this whole thing as if a man is in a position of power, a woman is really only having sex with him because he's using that power and influencing her to lay down and spread her legs. Accusers' letters come into question. On redirect questioning by prosecutor Elizabeth Gaddis, the witness claimed that Kelly told her to write those letters to her family. She insisted the letters were intended by Kelly to protect himself from potential charges. Whose idea was the content of those letters, and who told her to write that? Gaddis asked in a series of questions. The defendant, the witness answered. Why? To protect him in a trial like this, Gaddis asked. Yes, she said. Again, could be true, could not be true. But again, once you start lying, you lose all credibility. You lose all credibility. And it's almost the boy who cried wolf. Yo, it's a wolf. It's a wolf. It's a wolf. Ha ha, I'm joking. Till the day it really was a wolf. And nobody came to his rescue. And he was eaten. So, that's a lesson in itself when I say there has to be a code. You stand for someone, you're going to fall for anything. Now, again, do I believe he forced her to write that letter? I would probably say probably not. No, you know what? Now that I think about it, he did. Because ain't no way a young black girl that age, in the era we was living in when this happened, would have wrote a letter. So I do believe he probably made her write those letters. If that was her maneuvering around the way children maneuvered around in 2012, 13, 14, 15, She would have been on a telephone texting at that point, not writing letters. Geddes fired off more questions to move the focus from the witness parents back to Kelly. Who, Geddes asked, exposed you to an STD? Who made you write letters? Who gave you spankings every 2 to 3 days? Who called those spankings chastisement? Now, again, we don't use that type of language in this day and age. So would I assume R. Kelly would use the word chastise knowing the era he's from and the city he's from? Sure. Who gave her the STD? Again, until R. Kelly tests positive for herpes, I don't even know if R. Kelly has herpes or not. Who made you stay on the tour bus for days? Who made you have sexual contact with other females? Who made you have sex with a man you never met before named Nephew? Now, you do have to remember when she was testifying, we did the day 5 reaction. She did not say he made her. She said instructed. And again, that's kind of what I say you'll get lawyers who will start playing games with words. Because if someone says I was instructed, as long as she wasn't being held down or a gun wasn't to her head or a knife was to her head or throat or back, she wasn't being forced. And again, both ladies said when they got fed up, they got up and walked out. So I really don't know. I think they could have came up with a better way that they left. Like I said, they should have said we had to throw a shoe against the window or sneak out the second floor window, drop down to the floor, crawl out of the compound. That would have made for a better escape than to say we just get it. Because to say we just got up and walked down left, how can I really believe he was holding you hostage? Was it your parents or the defendant? Geddes asked after each question. The witness by this time crying answered the defendant to each question. And you also have to understand the damsel in distress. Because in all of these cases, once a woman starts crying, it's the same as when we give, a pass to Simone Biles or Sha'Carri Richardson when she said her mother died. Once a woman starts crying, that's it. Men are already raised, back off. You see a woman crying, a man's man will back off and let it go. Because at that point, now you feel like a bully and a predator. So she can garner sympathy that way. Now, these real tears, who knows? The witness, now 23, testified as Jane. Based on court doc inch right, 17, so that's 2015, 16 years, she wouldn't have been writing no letters. Based on court documents in the opening statement by prosecutors last week, she appears to be Jane Doe number 5, one of the 6 complaining witnesses against Kelly at this trial. Her friend reveals text messages on the stand. Later Wednesday, the prosecution called a friend of the witness, Malik Benadala, to the stand. She said she was subpoenaed to testify. She described herself as an Orlando area high school friend to the witness, and her testimony appeared aimed at depicting the kind of control Kelly exercised over Jane. So again, we got a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And see, when they start doing stuff like this, see, for me, I would need to see the letters that she wrote. It would have been better, though, if people had text messages and she took pictures of herself. Because to do all of this, these girls should have pictures of themselves with their eyes swollen shut, lips busted, or whatever was going on since they was getting hit with bruises on them. Because when you asking us to look back 6 years ago, we getting into he said, she said. We're getting into a government who's now trying to put somebody in jail, and we don't know what the motives are for this. We just leaving the Bill Cosby situation where it was found out again some of the women lied. it was found out again that a deal was already made behind closed doors and he shouldn't have never been on trial to begin with. So again, and there's plenty of other rabbit holes to go down with how unjust the justice system is, which is why I said I don't believe in capital punishment. So when they start going to grab friends and these type of things, and they want us to go off eyewitness testimony and all of that, it's kind of hard for me to buy into that, which is why I said as a juror, it would be hard for me to put somebody in jail without hard evidence. Benadala testified that the witness stopped communicating with her after she left to be with Kelly, only occasionally sending text messages, which were introduced as evidence. So again, she wrote letters. That's why I said I could believe he made her. If the letters exist, I could believe he made her do it, because that's not how children in 2015, they don't communicate like that. This generation of children communicate by phone and basically phone only. They're not interested in writing. They're not interested in doing papers, period. They'd much rather type up homework on the phone and email it to a teacher. In which she said such things as she was scared to have an abortion, according to Benadala. Another time, Benadala sent the witness a video of herself and another friend in the school lunchroom to remind her of things we used to do. But the witness asked her not to do that because Kelly checks my phone. So check your phone. I don't know why you would be sending text messages. The friend testified that the witness told Kelly that Benadala was her cousin and she worried he would find out she wasn't. I just don't want to have to block your number. The text entered in the evidence said, don't want to ruin the one shot I have at being able to talk to you. So again, you was able though to get up and walk out. So if you was held under these conditions, you should have gotten up and walked out then. But again, it's why I keep saying we also do have to accept these girls love being in his presence. And it's not just these girls. Grown women, there's plenty of women who enjoy just one night stands with celebrities just to say they slept with somebody. That's the way the game goes. On cross-examination, Koenig asked whether Benadala had any way to verify if these texts allegedly sent from the witness were true or not. She said she didn't know. And again, that goes back to the letters she wrote stating that her parents asked her to do all this to destroy him. Because now you raising the question, who had you doing all of this? Did your parents have you setting all of these mousetraps up for R. Kelly so that when this point came, they could get paid? Or was this you doing this? Now, again, I don't believe it was her who wrote the letter because that's just not how children operate. Could have been a parent who told her to write the letters. They sure could have. I just believe it would have been an adult because adults at that point were still writing letters, putting pen to paper. That's not something children her age would be doing. Witness testifies of a forced abortion. A woman testifying as Jane described Tuesday how Kelly abused her physically and sexually during their years together, and how he forced her to have sex with another man, coerced her into an abortion, and continued a sexual relationship with her, though she eventually told him she was underage and still in high school. Now, again, this is where we need to get to. Forced her to have sex with another man. That's rape at that point. And that's what he needs to be charged with. See, I don't like the word force because when you're saying force, there's only one way we could be saying that when you say he forced her to have sex with another man. If she was forced against her will, then that other man raped her. And he needs to be on trial also for rape at this point. Coerced her into an abortion? No, I'm not going to let her off with that because as women have stated, it's their body. We don't have an opinion or a voice into what goes on with an abortion. So I'm fine with that. I can't let her get off the hook with that. I have to hold her accountable for that. With her, even though she eventually told him she was underage and still in high school. So again, where did the fake ID come from? Because from my understanding, Mr. Navarro testified everybody who stayed in there had to have ID checked. On cross-examination Tuesday, she testified about friendly letters she wrote to Kelly in which she recalled happy memories with him. In one letter after they separated, she wrote that she could no longer be so closely associated with him in the wake of the January 2019 Surviving R. Kelly TV series, which examined his alleged abuse of women and girls. I will have to support you privately, not publicly, the letter said. So again, we already talked about this with everybody else. The heat, it got too hot in the kitchen. People ran. People were privately supporting them. Publicly, they didn't want to stand by. I will always love and support you, Bear. Just know I'm always here. I have no bad feelings, Bear. That's how that ends. So we have to then ask again, all of these terrible things happen and you were away from them. And of own free will now, you're still writing letters saying you will support him privately, not publicly, that you're always here. So you can ask me in 2021 to now take a listen to this and honestly believe that he physically abused you, sexually abused you, had you sleeping with other men that you didn't want to sleep with, yet free and clear all of that. You're writing letters telling him privately you support him and that you will always love and support him. Just know I'm always here. I have no bad feelings, Bear. That didn't end well for me. She kind of just came off again as a woman who's still in love with a man who she thought was her boyfriend. So again, we have two women so far who are still in love with R. Kelly, still have feelings for him, yet are walking up and getting on the stand, portraying him and saying he's a monster. Yet they're telling you that I'll always love and support you. Just know I'm always here. You take from it what you want to take from it, man. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd. I'll be back with a Day 7 reaction tomorrow. I'm out.